Hi, how are you guys doing?
We're
Good to see you all.
multi-streaming.
We're multi-streaming.
Not multitasking, multi-streaming.
All right, so we're going to start streaming on Instagram as well. Let me just go ahead and make sure that we're connected. All right, so let's see. Are we live? Yes, we are. Hi, everyone. This is Aisha and Dean coming to you from our kitchen. Hi, everyone. We're actually streaming on Facebook and YouTube as well. So good to see you all. Welcome to our kitchen. We are here to have a live cooking session with you all. It's wonderful to be here. It's my first time doing a live cooking demonstration on Instagram. So it'll be wonderful and interesting to see how it goes. Hi, Lily. My friend Lily's here and so many others. That's amazing.
We're not forgetting you guys there.
How's it going, everyone?
Hi, everyone.
Perfect. Welcome to our kitchen. So we took a poll a couple of days ago. Hi there. How are you? Okay, so we're going to make some blueberry scones, my Spelt blueberry scones.
But they're not regular blueberry scones.
Which is from our book, The 30-Day Alzheimer's Solution. Let me actually show you guys what it looks like. So yeah, so these are plant-based, of course, and they're sugar-free. And we love it because it's so easy to make. We can make it within minutes. Mm-hmm. Now I can't find where the recipe is. It's somewhere here. There it is. I found it. So we're making these. And here it is for my Facebook peeps. And it's wonderful. It's delicious.
It's healthy.
It's healthy. It's packed with brain healthy items. So join along. Hi, Laura. Hi, Valerie. So great to see you guys.
3 of those and you're a genius. No, we don't make bombastic statements like that. Maybe 5. 5.
Maybe 5 of them. Okay, so I'm not sure who's cooking with me because we announced it a couple of days ago, but let's go ahead and start. So Dean, so this is a lot of cognitive activity for me to face Instagram and also face Facebook and YouTube. So why don't we
the short end of the stick?
Right.
I'll be facing them.
I want Dean to be in the picture as well. All right. So for this recipe, we're going to need obviously blueberries, but I'm just going to show you how easy this thing is. All right. So
you're going to
actually have, maybe you should transition the camera so that they can see what I'm doing here as well. Just kind of click on the transition here. Okay. So you're going to need 2 bowls. And you're going to prepare your dry ingredients and you're going to prepare your wet ingredients, and then you mix them and you bake them. Before we start, I want you to turn on an oven. We're going to heat up the oven to 375, which I'm doing right now.
Sophie?
Yes. Perfect.
In life,
my professional taste testers are our kids, Alex and Sophie, who are going to join us very soon. Wonderful. All right.
And she means now.
Now,
hello.
Here's a joke. Hello? I have a joke.
What's your joke?
In life, all you need is love. Need.
Oh, thank you. Just me a second.
Yeah. Well, this recipe doesn't need kneading. So.
Okay.
Waste not a relevant joke.
Cancel that for the next time.
You should use that for the pizza.
All right.
Pizza. That's
right. So we're gonna start with a lemon.
I have a lemon joke. No, I'm kidding.
We are going to use the zest, and we're going to use the juice as well. So we're gonna go ahead and zest a lemon, and we're gonna mix this with our dry ingredients. So here I go. I love zesting lemon. Smell it. It's wonderful. You want to make sure you don't
sniff the lemon.
Did you sniff the lemon?
I smelled it. Yeah.
All right. You want to make sure you don't zest it too much because the pith, this white part, it can be bitter if you do too much. So just kind of, 1, 2, 1, 2, and just kind of roll it around. And of course this was washed. And I wash it with soap. I actually just dump it in a bowl and put some soap in there and wash them because we zest our lemons too much.
We have people from Montreal, Chicago,
Georgia,
England. Be a little more specific, please. Where
our book came out in the UK and in Australia and New Zealand on the 13th, so we're really excited about it. All right, so I went ahead and I zested the lemon.
Albany, we've been to Albany.
Here it is. We put it in the dry bowl. Now we're going to work on our wet ingredients. So you take your bowl. And for this recipe, we're going to need about 2/3 cup of any plant milk. I'm going to use some soy milk because it actually curdles really well. Let me see. What's everything? Everything's going well? Yeah, I actually have to glance at the recipe a little bit because you can't really eyeball the recipe because it has to be very specific. Now, the typical scones are made with a lot of butter. So we want to cut down all that saturated fats and we want to make it plant-based. So we're basically going to make a plant-based buttermilk. And you do that by adding some acid to a plant-based milk. So this is about 2/3 cup of soy milk. This is my favorite soy milk, the West soy, and it's unsweetened. And the only ingredients are essentially just soy and water. There's nothing else. I love this. All right, so soy milk in there. And now I'm gonna get that lemon. Can you give me a knife, honey, if you don't mind?
This is so humbling.
Thank
this
you
is
so
so
much.
beautiful from everywhere around the world.
Love you
Costa
guys.
Rica,
Love you guys.
Minnesota,
Ooh, that's
Hawaii.
a huge. All right. Well, we're gonna cut the lemon,
Beautiful.
and we're going to use about maybe about a teaspoon or so of lemon.
Smidgen.
I'm gonna eyeball this
A
one.
smidge.
A smidge?
smidge.
Well, no, you actually need the recipe's in the book. How many? I think it's about 2 teaspoons of lemon juice, and I'm just going to make sure that I don't get any of the seed in there. And the purpose is to curdle the soy milk, and we're just gonna leave it while we work on everything else.
So this is our
There you
first
go.
time in all
Right,
venues, right?
Yeah, it's our first time. We've done live cooking demonstrations for Facebook in the past, but this is the first time that I'm doing it for Instagram. I always find that Instagram is kind of small, so but hopefully it's going to work out. I have actually a dual system for the Facebook group. All right, so that was about 2 teaspoons. Can I have some whisks if you don't mind? So we're just going to kind of let it sit. No need to shake it, and as you can see, it's starting to curdle already. I don't know if you guys can see it here too. And that's the purpose. You just want to curdle the soy milk.
Yeah, and the purpose of this, as always, some of you have heard this, is if we can't make it easy, healthy, and tasty, it's not going to work.
Absolutely.
It's not going to become part of your life, and that's the whole point, for this to become part of your life. Healthy living, to not be an extraneous act.
Absolutely. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to add more of the wet ingredients into the soy milk. You're going to use about 1/3 cup of applesauce. This is just unsweetened applesauce. I hope I have enough. I've been using this a lot. Oh, please be enough. All right. I need a spoon here.
Yes.
Go ahead and make it 1/3. I think it's about 1/3 cup here. There you go. Should have gotten more. 1/3 cup of applesauce. And now I'm going to add a little bit of olive oil. I don't use butter. I don't want to use any butter, but I'm going to add extra virgin olive oil. For those of you who want to make completely fat-free, you can use more applesauce, but I have some extra virgin olive oil here. Where's my tablespoon? And for this recipe, I'm going to use about 3 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil.
So somebody's saying is I'm trying to avoid FODMAP, and can I still use Spelt
For
flour?
FODMAP, yeah, I think you would be better off if you used some gluten-free flour if you're avoiding FODMAPs. But there's actually a list of foods that you can refer to that will give you better options, and I can send it over to you. I'll keep that in mind. All right, so you just basically just roughly mix it. And that's the extra virgin olive oil with the applesauce, the soy milk, and the lemon juice. And now we're going to work on our dry ingredients. I'm just going to put this away, let it sit and do its thing. We have the lemon zest.
Somebody's
and now,
saying keep it under an hour, or Facebook or Instagram won't save it. So
I know. Oh gosh, yeah, you're right. We're gonna
thank
make sure
you.
that
We have our
work
family,
fast.
our social—they're so amazing. They always
sure
help
are.
us out. Yeah.
So as far as the flour goes, I'm going to use Spelt flour. I like the taste of Spelt flour. If you don't have any Spelt flour, then the closest flour that you can use is 100% whole wheat flour. You can use oat flour too, but you may want to use a little bit of maybe almond flour that kind of makes it a little more crumbly. Oat flour kind of seizes very quickly and it becomes very, very dense. It's delicious, but it becomes a little dense. So I would add 1/4 cup of almond flour if you're using oat flour.
Somebody's
All right,
saying.
I'm looking at your comments.
I know.
All right.
You want me to come on that side and?
All right.
You
Okay.
got
They're
it.
asking for specific recipes. I think we actually posted the recipe. But okay, I'll speak about it as I go along. All right, so for this recipe, we're going to use about, I think it's 2.5 cups of Spelt. A little bit more. All right, I promised myself I'm just going to chill, but now I am a little afraid that we're going to run over 1 hour for the Instagram. So
We'll be good. We'll be good.
So this is good cognitive activity for me because I have to keep on talking to you guys and answer some questions while I'm cooking.
By the way, if you guys have
questions,
questions,
which I don't do, I'm always quiet when I'm cooking.
If you have questions, ask. I'll try to answer, and the two of us will answer. But I'll definitely try to help out.
Absolutely. And so this is 2.5 cups of Spelt flour. A little bit more. You want to make sure that it's accurate. Okay, there you go. And to that, I'm going to add a touch of cinnamon, because why not? Cinnamon is wonderful. You can add about a teaspoon of cinnamon. So this is a blueberry Spelt, but cinnamon actually gives it this beautiful spice. Yeah. And the more opportunities we have to use spice, the better, right? Because spice is not only healthy, it just kind of gives you this beautiful flavor that people usually seek by adding salt and sugar and fat, but just use a lot of spices. It's wonderful. All right, so as far as sweeteners go, we're not going to use sugar. We're going to use this monk fruit sweetener. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but you can get it from Costco. You can get it from Whole Foods. Let me show it to the other camera. I don't want to ignore my YouTube peeps. All right, so for this recipe, I'm going to use about 4 to 6. In the book, I have mentioned, how much have I mentioned? Yeah, 4 tablespoons. But sometimes, actually, the other day, Alex, my son, said that he likes it a little sweeter.
A little sweeter, yeah.
So I'm going to add about 6.
Sweetness. So yeah.
I'm going to add 6 tablespoons. That's 3. Gotta focus. 4.
And all of
5.
Some of the elements you can adjust to your taste. I mean,
yeah. If you don't want to use monk fruit sweetener, then I'd suggest using maybe drops of stevia.
Can you use dates?
You can use dates, yes, but then you'll have to get rid of a little bit of a flour when you're using dates because you don't want it to be too dense. Mm-hmm. If you're using date syrup, mix it along with the applesauce. So, for the 1/3 cup of applesauce that we added, make sure that you take away a little bit from the applesauce when you add the date syrup, just so that the texture is fine. But it's such a forgiving recipe. I think you're going to be okay even if you add more. Now we're going to add a touch of salt. Just the recipe calls for 1/2 teaspoon. I just want to put a touch of salt, but you can totally avoid it if you want to. And baking powder. So here's the baking powder. You're going to add about, 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder. How much does the book say? Yeah, about 1.5 teaspoons. So 1.5 teaspoons. Leveled. Let me just go ahead and use the 1/2 teaspoon here. There it is. Making a little bit of a mess here, but that's okay. That's part of the fun. And now you're just going to mix all of this good stuff.
So somebody's saying the longer we eat this way, the quicker we'll dial back our sweet needs.
You got absolutely.
Yeah.
Take it from a sugaraholic, guys. Can't tell you. I mean, I used to have chocolate bars and candy bars in my purse all the time growing up, and if my coffee or tea didn't have at least 5 to 6 teaspoons of regular sugar, I wouldn't be able to drink it at all. But now I get sick, so it takes time, but you'll get there.
Your taste is driven by 2 things. One is your survival, so that's not a negative thing. Your survival needs are your emergency need does not that it's not worried about your longevity. So it wants fat and sugar and salt.
Yeah.
And so your drives are towards those tastes. The other element is culture and background and history. So
absolutely.
Those can be adjusted. But
right.
Realize that there is a need, biological need for you to crave those foods, which are not necessarily thriving foods. Those are just survival foods.
All right, so usually for this recipe, I use fresh blueberries, but I wanted to use some wild frozen blueberries to show you guys that it's so easy to have blueberries at home, and you just put it in the freezer. And in my opinion, frozen blueberries are sweeter. So using the sweetness from the fruit is going to make a huge difference. So I have this big bag of wild blueberries that I got from one of the grocery stores, and you're not gonna thaw it because then all the juices will come out. And for this recipe, we're gonna need about, I'm just breaking it with my hand.
I can do that. No, you got it? Okay.
I got it. Just kind of breaking it. make sure it's not in clumps.
You're kneading it?
I'm kneading it. Yeah. And I'm just going to use a big cup of wild blueberries. Mmm. All right, and just kind of put it in the dry ingredients right away. Oh, I left the refrigerator door open. Can you take this?
Yeah,
Never
so
mind, sorry.
somebody's saying they're here from unhealthy Mississippi and they have a huge sweet tooth.
Oh, okay.
And it's understandable. You can have, we're not avoiding sweet altogether. It's just healthy way of doing it.
Yeah.
So
You're
sugar-free or the kind of sweets that are bound to fiber. Your body's main source of energy, especially for your brain, is glucose. So you need sweets still, but how it's released and how it's bound to fiber is critical. And from Mississippi, we have great interest in that region because it's called Stroke Belt for a reason. Tennessee,
Yeah,
Mississippi, and all those
absolutely.
regions. And we have tremendous interest trying to bring health and brain health to that region.
Absolutely. So what I did was if you could just put that in the freezer, honey. Of
course.
Thank you so much. I'm just making sure you guys are seeing this, but I mixed the frozen blueberries. So I'm going to work really fast. And all you do is basically just add your wet ingredients to the dry ingredients and the blueberry, like so. And I have my spatula ready in the corner. You're not going to mix it too much. And just go ahead and roughly just mix it like that. And the idea is for it to be a sticky batter.
Do you find that the monk fruit has an aftertaste?
No, I actually don't. And I'm very sensitive to sweets. I didn't find, this is a personal opinion, maybe for you guys it's not so. I personally never liked the aftertaste from stevia. Just couldn't stand it at all. But monk fruit, and especially this one that has a mixture of erythritol and monk fruit, is really good. It has a cooling effect when you put it in coffee and tea, but in desserts and muffins and scones, it actually works really, really good. And it's just lovely. So yeah, that thing is open and making noises. All right, so as you saw, it was just, very, very quick mixing the whole batter. And this is what it's gonna look like for my YouTube peeps and then for the Instagram peeps. So, it has to be very wet and it doesn't have to be fancy at all. And all you do is, let me just clean up my surface and my hands a little bit. Oh, sorry.
No problem.
Here we go. And put this in the back. And you get a parchment paper if you want to make sure that your table stays clean. And I'm just going to lower the camera so that you can see what I'm doing here, okay? And basically just dump this in there. All right. Now I'll put this away. And ideally what they do is, in the recipes, they tell you to make a big circle or like a big circle shape and then cut it into 8 parts. And that's what I've mentioned in the book too. But this is an easier version. So all you do is kind of make a log and just pull it apart. I'm telling you guys, this is a very forgiving recipe, so don't worry if it looks messy.
For those that are asking, this video will be in saved in YouTube, Facebook, and hopefully if we can get done before an hour in Instagram as well.
Yeah, I think we're good. I don't know how long we've been there, but about 23 minutes. We should be okay.
We should be.
All right, there it is. Believe it or not. The typical recipes that have butter in them, you're supposed to put in the refrigerator and let it cool because the butter usually melts, right? But for this one, no, you don't have to. There's no butter in there, so you can actually start cutting it and put it in the oven right away. This looks good.
Well, it's gorgeous.
Right? All right, now I'm going to cut it. I'll show you guys. Let me just wash my hands.
Let's just skip the scone part and make a scone log.
You could do that if you want to.
We made pizzas the other day, and each of us, the family, Alex, Sophie, Aisha, and mine didn't turn out well. I just turned it around, made it into a calzone. Yeah.
So I just have this, and I'm going to essentially cut it into diamond-shaped or triangle-shaped pieces, depending on what you want. And there you go, like that.
Yes, fruit is very good for you. So a lot of times people are mixing up concepts. Once they hear sugar, they just put everything into one. Once they hear carbs, they put all of that concept into one. No, there are good carbs and bad carbs. If it's simple carbs, and processed, of course it's not good. But if it's complex carbs, it's one of the three forms of food available to us: protein, carbs, and fat. And carbs are great in appropriate form.
So I have...
Same thing with sugar.
Sorry, honey.
No,
so I have a little bit of soy milk in a bowl, and I have this brush here, and we're just going to glaze it with a little bit of soy milk. Now, this is not a necessary step if you just want to go all rustic on it, but it kind of gives it a really nice sheen on top of it. It makes it look a little more polished. Typically, as you may know, scones or American scones have a sugary glaze on them. We don't need it at all. The blueberries are so sweet, and the monk fruit will give it all the necessary sweetness. So that's just a useless step, and you're going to cut on sugar.
Somebody's saying, is this healthy? Everything we make is healthy.
Healthier compared to the ones that you find in the store.
It's very healthy, right?
It really is healthy, yes.
Yeah.
All right, so what I'm going to do is just kind of sprinkle it a little bit with monk fruit on top, just for that extra sweetness, just a touch, not too much. All right, so this is ready. Now, what you're going to do is, let me go ahead and clean up a little bit. I'm a little OCD about clean surfaces, so.
3 showers a day she forces me into.
Oh, come on, stop it. They're going to believe
that was wrong in so many ways.
All right, so I have a baking sheet, and I have a parchment paper on top. And then I'm just going to, making sure you guys can see it.
Mm-hmm.
Can you see this? Yes. All right, okay. So, kind of sliding, picking it up, and placing it here. Sliding it.
Somebody's saying the video stopped. Guys, confirm if you
can
up. Still see us.
We're on Instagram, I think.
Yeah, but how about here?
All right. Sliding. I should stop saying sliding. You said it many times. I'm going to say for all pieces. You can make it bigger. You can make it smaller, depending on what you want. I've made some tiny scones, especially when we used to make this for the kids for
school.
Remember for school and AYSO when they would go for their soccer?
Soccer, yeah.
We made 7 pieces here. This one was like the largest.
Okay, everybody's saying it's okay on Facebook.
All right, good. I'm glad you guys can see us. All right, here it is.
Love our family here on social media.
Love
it's
everyone.
Amazing.
All right.
And us having kids, simple foods like this, which are tasty. Again, I'm repeating, tasty, healthy, and easy, is so critical for the kids when they go to school or if they're going out with friends. Well, fairly soon that's going to start. But
looking good.
Yeah.
You want to make sure that there's some space because they kind of expand. Okay. So this is going to go into the oven at 375 degrees for about 15 to 20 minutes. All right. Here we go. Cool.
We're on time. 4:27.
Woohoo! All right, so we're good. Let's go ahead and see if we can answer some questions.
Yes.
Again, for those of you who are interested, it's the recipes in the book.
What page?
This is our 30-day Alzheimer's solution book. The page is 220. All right, so we made a rustic version of that.
Get the book. It's not just food and other elements of neuro, but what we pride ourselves in, which is behavior change, habit change, and not a one-time diet or lifestyle, but actually making it part of your life.
Great, awesome, and the people have actually made it. All right, so let's see if I can answer some questions. Hi guys, what's going on? Good to see you all. Okay, perfect. I'm glad that you guys can hear us and see us. Much easier technique than the one in the book. You think so? It was the same, but I suppose making a log instead of a circle and then cutting it into 8 pieces is easier. You're absolutely right. What kind of knife is the one you just used?
No. Don't start the knife thing.
I can talk to you about knives.
She loves knives.
Yeah, this one is, I think this is a Shen knife, but I have
You have a German one too, right?
Yeah, I have my favorite one. And believe it or not, I just kind of bought it on the website, and it's, God, I forgot the name, but this is like amazing.
Wow.
And what's it called? It's a Japanese knife.
Oh, okay.
Kenshi. Kenshi, it's it's not a very famous brand, and I love the fact that I can sharpen it really quickly. I do have a Wustoff, and I've had this for over 10 years. And this is my favorite one when I have a lot of work to do. But this is the daily one. The Wish Tough is 8-inch. This one is 6.5 inches.
They're asking what this is called.
You're right. I can't stop talking about nerves. Oh,
Nice.
This one, basically, it's a stainless steel like dough cutter. I'm sorry, it's messy. It's used for dough. It's such a handy thing. You can pick things up when you've cut it and put it in your pan.
This is lovely.
Really
Somebody's
wonderful.
saying thank you so much for doing this. Some of you guys have been in the journey with us for 30 days. We're starting an entire process. We call it Brain Health Revolution. And we will ask all you guys to be part of this. This is also going to help our efforts in communities. And they're saying that they're changing. It's actually not a one-off. It's actually changing their habits. So
Amazing.
That's wonderful.
Amazing. I'm so happy to hear that. All right. Some of you have questions about monk fruit. So monk fruit is, a plant-based sweetener. And this version is mixed with erythritol, which is a sugar alcohol. And it's wonderful because it doesn't have any calories. It's just a sugar alcohol. And erythritol seems to have the least amount of GI side effects. Dean is reading some lovely messages. You guys are so kind. Thank you so much. So we just got done with a 30-day program with our. Oh, let me just check the oven.
Nearly 6,000 people.
Yeah.
Which was absolutely mind-blowing for us as well. I mean, as much as we want to bring a revolution, brain health revolution.
Put the timer on.
Your interaction with them was amazing.
Yeah, so we were together for 30 days. We would go online, have conversations, cooking sessions every Saturday, just like this one.
Check-ins every other day.
We had some really awesome friends who came and spoke to our community. We had Dr. Noah Siegel, who is a sleep specialist from Harvard. We had Dr. Mithu Storoni, the author of Stress Proof. She had a fabulous presentation. Our dear friend Howie Jacobson and Dr. Howard Ratkins. It was beautiful to have everybody there. All right, monk fruit. Lots of questions about monk fruit, guys. So this is the brand that we're using, and you can actually get a bigger.
By the way,
wine from
we're
Costco.
not sponsored by this brand.
No
we have
sponsoring.
no connection, nothing. So.
I just think it's wonderful for cooking because I cook a lot, and that actually helps a lot. Lily, how are you?
Oh, this is also called
good to
bench
see you.
scraper. Somebody's saying this is called a bench
Bench
scraper.
scraper. Thank you for that.
It makes sense.
Okay.
Now I know what to use it for when you're not using it for cooking.
Yeah. Or call the kids to give us the bench scraper, right?
Yeah.
The extra thing in monk fruit sounds like a chemical. Is it safe? So erythritol is sugar alcohol. Yeah, it is safe. Absolutely. My sister just made 4 of your recipes for today's lunch. 4. That's awesome. We have the book and love it. My question isn't about the scones, but other recipes. I'm not a nutritional yeast fan. Should I just leave it or find a substitute? You can leave it. Nutritional yeast has a cheesy taste. It has a very umami taste, and I use it for replacing cheese. And that's the whole purpose. Everybody has a difficult time getting rid of cheese. And it can add that cheesiness, that aged cheesiness flavor to it. If you want to avoid it, that's absolutely fine. You can add maybe some, I'd say, liquid aminos, smoked paprika, spices like nutmeg to give more flavor to your food instead of nutritional yeast. Absolutely, you can modify it. And most of the recipes that I made are very forgiving, and they're made with easily available ingredients. All right, I just saw that being in ketosis is the best thing for your brain health. Is that true? And now I'm more confused than ever. No. You want to say something?
Yeah. So you want to keep this light and happy, but so a review paper just came out on ketogenic diet and ketosis and brain health. Please look into that paper and see the quality of the. Whenever you do meta-analysis, no, you're good. When a meta-analysis, the quality of the meta-analysis depends on the papers that go into the meta-analysis. Mm-hmm. There are papers that have a few subjects. The duration is not ever longer than 6 months. When you don't have a population-based study that's long-term, it's another gimmick. It's another way of creating confirmation bias to eat more fatty food and more meat and cheese and things of that nature. We're not against the science once it's more confirmed or even any evidence of it. Mm-hmm. When you have small databases that show almost incrementally meaningless, clinically meaningless outcomes and no long-term data, whereas on this side you have a mountain from the Adventist Health Study, California Teacher Study. We did both studies in both. The Harvard studies, the Columbia University where you were, the Rush study, all of them show that a more plant-centered diet, I don't care where you are in that spectrum, the more plant-centered, the better. But the more plant-forward, the better. If the more whole food, the better.
Yeah.
But the choice is not, skipping plants and just going to fat. I know that there's a ketogenic diet that you can achieve through plants as well. The point is, we're public health advocates. There's a lot of talking heads. We've done public health at the national level. If we want this to be implemented to 5 million, 10 million, 50 million, how many people do you think can sustain a plant-centered ketogenic diet? Do you have any population that's been able to do that? Or non-plant centered? Do you have any healthy population that's been able to do that? Healthy is the operative term. None. Here you have data, 133,000 people in California Teacher Study, Adventist Health Study, 100,000, 96,000 people, on and on and on and on. And we still keep searching for something that gives us our confirmation bias. Sorry.
We're going to revive our brain health and the Brain Health and Beyond podcast, and we're going to have a very, very thorough conversation about the latest on ketogenic diet. But yeah, Dean put it beautifully.
If data comes back otherwise, we'll accept it, but there's no valid, meaningful, long-term data.
Love from India. Priya, sending you love. I hope you're doing well. We're thinking about India every single day. And hopefully things are going to get better there for you all. All right. A lot of questions about coconut and coconut sugar. So listen, guys. Coconut sugar is sugar. It's basically extraction of the sweetness from coconut and crystallizing it. So it can't be healthy. Is it less processed than regular refined sugar? Maybe a tad bit. But does it raise your glucose levels? Yeah, it does.
Rapidly.
So, sugar is sugar. Coconut sugar is coconut sugar. Coconut oil has a lot of saturated fats. I'm so sorry. We've actually lost friends over coconut. It's a delicious thing, but unfortunately it can't be healthy. And so if there is any fruit sugar, it's basically pulverized date, which is a whole date dried and pulverized into sugar. So it has the fiber, it has all the minerals, it hasn't been refined or it hasn't been changed tremendously. So that's good.
So somebody's saying that the monk food gave them a headache. There are exceptions to everything.
Yeah, of course.
People respond differently to different things. On the average, monk food seems to work well for a large population. But again, I tell you, your personal situation, people who are sensitive to gluten, people who are sensitive to nuts, people that are sensitive to flour in general, about 2%, 3%.
Right.
So you have to adjust to your own situation.
So we're gonna make sure that the recipes are completely sugar free because we're concerned about the consumption of unrefined processed sugar. So we're not gonna recommend things like agave syrup and even maple syrup. But if you don't have any glucose dysregulation or insulin resistance, a tiny bit of maple syrup, if you want to add it, then that's fine. But yeah, we're trying to cut down on refined sugar as much as possible.
They're saying is coconut, just the meat of the coconut.
Oh yeah, it's wonderful. I mean,
fine.
It's unrefined.
You have to use a lot of coconuts to get that oil. So it's the oil part is the concentrated. It's more than 90% saturated fat. To the best of our knowledge today, saturated fat, processed sugar, and salt are the things that we're supposed to avoid as much as possible, and we go with the bulk of data.
So George and Melinda, 808, you were the one who asked about ketogenic diet too, and you're saying that this person says no plants, and it has confused so much. She also says that plants have heavy metals. I don't know what to say.
So concentration, bioconcentrators concentrate heavy metals.
Yeah.
Plants, everything can have heavy metals. I mean, we're on a planet where we're inundating the environment with heavy metals and everything else. But how much of the heavy metals are concentrated in a thing depends on their concentrating ability. And in fish, the larger fish, or all fish, but especially the larger fish, have been shown repeatedly to have the highest amount of heavy metals. Mercury, lead, PCBs, and then another 30,000 chemicals in the oceans that we add that we never even check. Same thing with other animals. They concentrate hormones, chemicals, antibodies, as well as heavy metals. Do plants have heavy metals? They probably can, but they don't have this kind of a systematic concentrating capacity that tissue has or livers have.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And yeah, I am sorry that it's quite confusing to listen to too many talking heads who, basically announce themselves or put themselves in a position of authority. And I say this with tremendous amount of respect. I mean, I'm not disrespecting anyone, but there comes a time when the benefits outweigh, the harm outweighs the benefit. And so you just have to cut off from some people who don't really make, not about sense, how can you tell who makes sense, right? I think the most important thing is to look at evidence-based information, things that have been published and have been replicated and validated in different population and different studies, and just follow people who stick to the evidence and are science-based.
And we try to be a little more edgy here by actually saying it that what is it, Dr. Dale Bredesen Protocol for Alzheimer's, what they
read
call
it out loud so they know what you're saying.
Keto flex diet.
Keto flex diet.
What a cute word. Keto flex. These are all confirmation bias language that's created to catch the most number of people. And how do you catch the most number of people? My favorite statement, people want to hear good news about their bad habits. In fact, that is such a powerful marketing tool to tell people things that are close and they have some scientific language. Keto flex. Look at that one. That's a new one.
That's a new one. I haven't heard that before.
Of course.
Where do we buy a book? You can buy the book anywhere.
Yeah.
You can actually get it from local bookstores. We would love for you guys to support your local bookstores as well. Hi, my friend Lani. If I Can Change. Thank you so much for being here. She's made such amazing recipes. She actually replicated some of the recipes. I'm really grateful to you. Thank you. All right. Let's see. I have the book next to me, but lazy. Oh, no problem at all. So you guys were asking earlier about the amounts of soy. Go ahead. Do you want to say something?
You go ahead.
All right. Somebody said monk fruit surprised me. It tastes fantastic. Yeah, absolutely. It really surprised me too. I didn't think that we would find something that measures like sugar and tastes like sugar as well. All right. Next question. All right. Let's see. I'm sorry. I'm kind of going down. I think coconut has saturated fats, which is not good for the brain. Absolutely. Coconut oil and palm oil are the two plant-based exceptions that have the most amount of saturated fats. There's more than 90% saturated fats, and we know that when you consume too much saturated fats, it causes inflammation and oxidation in the vessels, the tiny blood vessels that provide oxygen and nutrition to very important parts of the brain. And also to the heart, to the rest of your body. So cutting down on saturated fat is very, very important. Okay, all I have been making is from your new cooking book. Oh, that's so kind of you. Love them. I have lost a pound per week and a few inches. Wow, that's awesome. It's been 5 weeks and I've been super satisfied. Thank you. Oh, that makes me so happy. Thank you so much. We created these recipes with our community in mind, with the patients we work with in the clinic and in the hospital in mind. One of the reasons I didn't go all esoteric and exotic with all the ingredients is because we wanted people to go into their local grocery stores, get the ingredients and start making foods. And when people say plant-based foods, it always seems like as if you're taking something away.
Yeah.
And that's absolutely false. It actually brings so much diversity, so many tastes, so many flavors on your table. And we wanted to make sure that we worked hard on the pictures too to kind of show you how beautiful plant-based foods can be. So thank you so much for that beautiful comment. Okay, let's see. I'm eating some dehydrated pineapple and looked at the ingredient. It says it contains sulfates. Is that a bad thing? No, I think it's an agent that is added to keep it fresh. So yeah, there's no evidence that it's actually bad for you. Yes, Steve?
My boyfriend lost 13 pounds, stopped snoring, and he's even started cooking from your book. We've both made a lot.
Thank you, Melissa. Oh, we love you. That's so beautiful. Thank you.
One of the main reasons for snoring or obstructive sleep apnea is excessive weight around the respiratory system. And not always, but often if you reduce weight, if that is a concern, and healthfully, then there's a good chance that that's going to reduce that obstruction. So yeah, that's one of the things to do. We're not concerned about weight. We're concerned about just eating healthy, and the body will rest where it needs to rest. So you'll see the changes that are remarkable for every person, their own nothing to buy. Don't even have to. I always say this, and it sounds counterintuitive. You don't even have to buy our book, but it is not simple. It's not going to be a blueberry or eating bacon or eating something that we want. It's got to be a whole food plant-based. There's got to be exercise in this, significant exercise, mindfulness, meditation, stress management, sleep hygiene, and mental activity. Together, you'll significantly reduce risk of neurological diseases and cardiovascular diseases, for that matter.
I'm laughing because there's some really awesome statements. Somebody said, I use my coconut oil for moisturizer now. The big Costco coconut oil.
Yes.
Yeah, it's great for hair. It's great for skin. All right, every time I try a diet in high fiber, I get bowel obstruction due to complication from laparoscopic surgery. How do I approach a plant-based diet? Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. I think for you, it has to be modified, right? You have to make sure that the amount of fiber that you consume is measured, and you have to work with a registered dietitian to find out what works best for you. So I can't make a generalized statement. Well, I have a specific statement, but generalized is you can definitely slowly and gradually add fiber into your diet, but you have to work with someone who can measure it for you.
Correct.
All the best and much love to you.
Here, somebody says...
ghee, okay, sorry. Go ahead, take one.
Omega muffins.
Omega muffins?
Your omega muffins are everything.
So love you. Thank
for
you
those
so
who
much.
haven't heard this
Omega
before,
muffins.
We just did 2 huge reviews. We're in the middle of a 3rd review, which is olive oil in the brain and have brain health. But we did omega-3 in the developing brain and omega-3 and the aging brain.
So that's the omega muffins?
The only fat your brain needs. This is another one of those million follower talking heads that says your brain is made of fat.
Scones.
Therefore, you need fat. The only fat your brain needs is omega-3s. And the omega muffins speaks to that. There are many ways to get your omega-3, but the omega muffins is a sample that gives you that.
Absolutely. Eat good fat ghee. What's your advice? No, ghee is clarified butter. So ghee is basically when you warm up or start simmering butter, it kind of separates. The froth separates on top and the fat goes at the bottom. So you get rid of the liquid and the milk portion of it, and you are left with the fat. And that's a very concentrated source of saturated fats. I know that in Ayurvedic medicine, and it's considered as something that is healthy. It definitely makes some food very delicious. It's mainly used in India, but it is saturated fats, unfortunately. So we would advise not to consume ghee. What are your thoughts about intermittent fasting? Are you a fan? Intermittent fasting has been studied in animals, and very few human studies have been published. In certain situations, it could potentially be healthy, but we don't have long-term validated data showing that intermittent fasting can help with anything. I think, and as a public health advocate, both of us, we're very passionate about translation of information, right? So for people who are struggling with easily preventable lifestyle diseases like high blood pressure, cholesterol, and diabetes, instead of focusing on intermittent fasting, just lowering calories and eating a plant-predominant diet actually is way more helpful and something that is doable.
The one thing that's been shown to be consistently effective is calorie restriction. One of the benefits of intermittent fasting might be just that, a time restriction that actually fools the body into thinking there's starvation state, and that creates a whole process. Again, that has not been shown consistently in human studies. There are no long-term studies of it. And secondly, is it a public health possibility? I don't think so. I don't think we can get 1 million people to consistently for 12 months a year do intermittent fasting, and at the same time then eat all the fat the other time and all the harmful stuff. So focusing on good food, which is whole food plant-based, for the duration of the day addresses calories, sustainability, in many ways sustainability, and calories, sustainability, and healthy nutrients and proteins and everything else. By the way, we call it the false deficiency state of the week, where every day somebody else comes, there's B12 deficiency in plant-based, and omega deficiency, or choline, and we've done this research. B12 is deficiency across the board. Plant-based a little more, but across 40% of Americans, for that matter, have B12 deficiency, especially as we get older. So measure your levels, measure your vitamin D levels, and if you lack those vitamins, first find out why and then replace. But other than that, the food itself, a whole food plant-based with variety, is going to give you all the proteins, nutrients that you need. There is no deficiency. There's no data that shows that.
Sorry, Dean. I'm getting excited because in a couple of seconds, I'm
So
going to get the
it's
scones
4:50.
out. Ooh, good. Okay. So we will get the scones out in a couple of seconds.
Okay, let's see.
All right. Answering questions while I see this. All right. With a plant-based diet, any concerns with eating tofu and its estrogenic effects and fibroids? For people who have fibroids, no. I think there's no evidence that it actually makes it worse. So the estrogen in tofu are phytoestrogens, and they don't have the same kind of affinity that animal estrogens or animal-based estrogens have. As a matter of fact, they've been associated with lower risk of cancer.
Across the board, pretty much.
Across the board,
Except
yes.
one variety, which actually doesn't needs to be further studied.
Transition.
Which yeah, and that's basically it. In totality, it's been repeatedly be shown to
Kids,
reduce your heart
Alex,
disease risk
Sophie.
and lots of cancers, and of course weight management and diabetes and all of that. Ready?
All
Are we
right.
ready? Transition.
Ta-da! All right, looking good. Look at these beauties. Woo, I'm better
Let's
burn
not
myself.
ignore the
what?
YouTube and
Never,
Facebook.
ever are we going to ignore our lovely YouTubers. All right, as you
and
can
Facebook
see,
family.
and Facebook family, as you can see, they've like expanded. They're bigger inside. Oh, this one got stuck. It's okay. I love the word rustic, which means that even if you make a mistake, it's okay.
The recalcitrant scone.
All right, see, and that's the good thing about having
That one is yours, Sophie.
the small one.
Yeah.
All right, it's good to have a parchment paper because you can pick it up easily. So there it is.
Oh wow!
All right,
Let's
so it's
show it
nice
to
and
you.
steamy. Oh, it's right here. Okay, great. And as you can tell, it's beautiful. All the blueberries are just like oozing. It's gorgeous. See how
In
gorgeous
this
that
case,
is?
I think cooling down actually makes it taste better, doesn't it?
It's a nice.
Some foods, some cookies, when they're hot, they taste good.
Yeah.
Let me show you the bottom. All right.
Oh wow!
So it's nice and golden. Can you tell?
Wow.
There it is. Can you tell? There it is. All right.
She's showing off now.
Um,
It's like my juggling.
It's always good
exactly.
to wait a little bit. The waiting part is hard because it smells amazing. Guys, I want you to say something about this because it sounds like
smells
I'm
amazing.
actually.
It smells amazing.
Yes, it does. There's no question of that.
Yeah.
So get a cookie rack or something so that you can cool it. And because it doesn't have a lot of fat, it's always good to kind of consume it within a couple of days. Always warm it up in a toaster oven if you want to enjoy it fully. Even cool ones taste just fine. Look at this one. Look how beautiful that is. Are you seeing this? Look at this. Amazing.
Amazing.
All right, so we're just going to put it on the cooling rack. And there you go. We
Okay,
have
let's see if.
beautiful 8 scones.
What's the texture of your scone?
The texture, I'm going to show it to you guys now. All
Right now, it's usually pretty stiff. Right now, it's a little soft because it's very warm, but it gets within a couple hours, it gets like a regular. It's a scone,
Yeah.
stiff and great to dip into tea or coffee or whatever you want.
Yeah. It would actually be really good with a tea latte, maybe an Earl Grey tea latte. All right, so it's very, very hot. It's supposed to be crumbly, and it gets a little crumbly when you allow it to cool down. I'm gonna probably burn my hand, but let me just go ahead and show it to you guys.
You want me to?
No, I got this. Oh God. Okay, so here it is.
Wow!
That's
Look
the
at the smoke.
texture.
Look at
You can see the steam.
Yeah, look.
Looks good. All right.
look at
Here
the
you
steam.
go, my Facebook family and YouTubers. This is how it looks inside.
Sophie,
And
you
I'm
want to
going
show them
actually
how you
take-
eat this?
Yeah.
I will demonstrate if I have to.
Yeah, let's do this.
Right here. You come here, Sophie. And
Ready?
It's hot.
it's super hot, right? So
One swallow.
No, I can't.
I'm joking. Oh my goodness.
okay. Look at this.
Really good.
Really good.
Look at that beautiful blueberry. And if you're using frozen wild blueberries, they're so sweet because they are ripe and they're frozen. They're flash frozen at the peak of ripeness. So use wild blueberries that are frozen to increase the sweetness and not relying too much on monk fruit. I'm going to take a bite of this.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Perfect sweetness.
So Nancy says, I wish I could eat one right now.
Here you go, Nancy. One for you. Oh,
Sophie,
she
you
was
are
there
working
already.
on smell-o-vision. Now you can work on
Yeah.
Taste division.
taste-o-vision.
Sophie's working on smell-o-vision so she can actually share how it smells. But it smells of orange. The lemon, the zest of lemon.
Yeah.
It tastes of course, the blueberries.
Somebody's-
It's really nice and crumbly. It's not dense. It's kind of soft, but it bounces back. It has a really nice toasty crust. You can actually get a whiff of the cinnamon in here.
Somebody says,
as
can
well.
you make it without oil? Of course. Of course.
You can make it without oil just by adding a couple more tablespoons of applesauce. If you want to add
Somebody
date
loves your shirt,
paste,
your Pink Floyd shirt.
Thank you.
come and show it to the Instagrammers.
Yeah.
Light shirt.
Thank you.
But that's basically it, guys. Are we getting close to timeout? Yeah, 55. So as you can see, it's so easy. My kitchen is not that messy. I have to actually clean up the table, but we made some really nice scones here.
Let's make sure
And
we finish this before 5 o'clock.
You got it. And you need to store it in an airtight container, glass container.
You
And
did
you
your
can
job.
have it.
I did.
I think it because, like I said earlier, because it doesn't have a lot of fat, you need to consume it within, I would say, 3 to 4 days, so that you can enjoy the freshness. After 3 to 4 days, it becomes a little hard, but this actually was a success. What do you think?
It was definitely a
Right?
success.
Okay. All right. Really happy that we made this. Let me see if I can.
We'll
I'm
show
sorry
you
if I
the
missed some
success by
questions
tonight.
here. This was not a Q&A, by the way, but I just wanted to get you all get together with you. Hi, my friend Muzammil is here. Hi, Muzammil. Lily, you're still here. I love you. I miss you so much. All right. Let's see.
Okay, let's see who else. Do they freeze well? They do. Do they?
It would change the texture. I want to be kind. It would change the texture, but it's yes, you can definitely freeze it and then rewarm it, and you can actually it'll be nice.
Candace thanking you.
All right, okay, we're gonna say goodbye. It feels like we don't want to
We don't want to leave.
leave, right?
No, but,
but
no.
here you go. Please go ahead and make this and let me know what you think about it. It's not very sweet. It's packed with blueberries. It's
we have
wonderful.
to do a
for
little
brain
bit of
health.
salesmanship. We are
A
terrible
little
at
bit
this.
of salesmanship. Guys, here's the book. We put our heart and soul into it.
And those who've bought already, give us some good reviews.
Thank you so much. If you like the book,
Love you.
would appreciate it if you go to Amazon and put in a review. It actually helps other people find out about it too. We're so happy that we got to hang out with you all. Love you all. Thank you so much for joining. And give us some feedback. If you think this was a good format, we can actually have more cooking sessions in the future.
But we're trying to create something on brain health revolution, and we will be keeping you updated.
Absolutely. Starting a brain health revolution. Love you all. Have a wonderful day. Bye. All right. Bye, guys. I'll see you soon.